Filmed and recorded at Gulfstream Video Studio, Tampa Bay Business and Wealth presents a sit-down.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Chuck?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You excited to do this?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that mentorship is a big part of your life and what you care about. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think that mentorship and good stewardship of people in my community have shaped me. And so giver's gain is very important to me. Each one, reach one. There's all these cliches of ways to say, pay it forward. And because my community has been so generous to me, it's a part of my purpose, is that I show up in spaces where people aren't represented. I show up in spaces for children who need someone to tell them that they can do anything in spite of their current circumstance. I'm just really grateful for all of the contributions into my life, and I just pray that I leave this community better than it found me.
Yeah. So when do you think you realized that was such an important part of your story and that you wanted to kind of project it forward?
When I was young, my grandmother would take me to church, and so we were at church a lot. I was on the choir, I joined the usher board, and we learned then to be of service and how to, help elders into their seats, make sure we handed out fans for people. And so you learn all these little micro ways to be present, but also kind of be invisible, and not really look for the applause, but just understand that energetically, universally, spiritually, that there are applause and rewards coming to you one way or another. I would say in high school, if I had to go to a time when I received in a way that I could see that I was going to give back, it was when they came over, University of South Florida, go Bulls. They came over to Robinson High School and they set up in the library to interview students who might be candidates to go to the school. But we didn't have anybody teaching us how to take the SAT, take the ACT, those types of things. And some of the guidance counselors from our school, combined with the social workers from, USF, they sat down and they had us share what we wanted to do and listen to us. And I kind of found out that they were volunteers. Like they were there to do some of the intermediary work because the school, University of Florida, didn't have the full resources to care for people like me. I thought that was very generous. That day I left that library, I came home with an acceptance letter to USF. And that meant a lot to me. And so when I was put in positions to where I could give back in those ways where I'm just showing up as an intermediary, I'm not working for the organization, I'm just a board member who believes in the mission, then I get to do those things. And so seeing it in life and having it show up for me were the examples that showed me what it could look like when you just show up to be a mentor in spaces that people aren't expecting you.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you've had a lot of jobs throughout your life. Yes. Before you settled in with Ice Cold Air. If you want to talk about kind of go through the litany, so to speak.
Oh man, all right. So we'll do the undocumented, the middle school and high school, cutting grass, cleaning houses, buying candy in bulk from either Sam's Club or the Shopette on base. We would buy candy, break up packs of Annihilators, and sell them for 50 cents and make a little profit. So those little things. I think so many of us have those similar stories. Then you move on to selling telecom services through a network marketing vehicle out of Dallas, Texas, that opened up the opportunity when I was an undergrad at USF to then live in Germany. I built a statewide team between University of Florida, University of South Florida, FAU down south. So between those universities, I set up sales teams, and then a Texas-based sales team, and we sold phone service and two-way pagers. This was back when AT&T first got deregulated. And so basically we would come to call your mom, kind of like the Cutco system. We'd come to your house, knock your door, hey, how much you paying for your long distance? And then you can help a college student by switching over your bill and save money. So that opened up the door for me.
Did you do Cutco also, or no?
I did Cutco.
You did do Cutco?
Yes, and I am actually looking for a Cutco salesperson today because I want some Cutco. I actually want the scissors again. I've given away all that stuff since then, but yeah, I definitely
It's the one job my parents would never let me do.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man, I loved it. I didn't do it for long, but I loved it, and I believe in the knife still to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, if you're looking for someone to sell, you just got to get, a niece or a nephew or someone to work for them.
Yeah,
You'll get a call real quick.
Well, I want somebody who's entrepreneurial out there that the sale would make a difference, and being able to sit with them during their sales presentation, give them some pointers, teach them things that I've learned. Today, I was at the Great American Teach-In. It's kind of a segue or a squirrel. I'm not sure which one this is, but today I did the Great American Teach-In, and I did all first grade classes. And it's not a whole bunch of high-level techniques that you can teach a first grader, but there's one basic one, and I really believe that it is my secret to success. It's $1 million secret, and it's very simple, and it's to become an active listener. And the math equation on becoming an active listener is to understand that most of us human beings were given 2 ears, we were given 1 mouth, and if we use those appropriately and really become really good active listeners, we can become great friends, great mentors, great coaches, great leaders, because we listen twice as much as we speak. And those are the things that I would like to sit down with a young Cutco salesperson and say, listen, if you're gonna come out here in the world and create your own wealth through presenting opportunities to people, today it's knives, next week it could be phone service, a week after that, a year after that, it could be automotive service and repair, which is where I landed. You need to learn to be a great listener. And you need to hear where people are coming from, what they need, so that you can be of actual resource to them. And so mentorship is very important to me because I think that some of us just need the cheat code, and it's not as complex as people would like to sell you.
Yeah, it's like I think you actually might have been the one to say it. There's a cliche like, listen like you might be wrong. Yeah.
It's the best thing. If you can really get over yourself, like I already know how I feel about things, Chuck. I already know how I feel about things. So what does it hurt me to listen to how you feel about things? You're not going to change my mind. And if you do, isn't that good for me that I was open enough to hear that? Right? And so if I could just be quiet and hear a new perspective and let it challenge me, let it trigger me, let it shake me, I can grow. Then when I'm coaching somebody, leading somebody in my business, and they're saying something to me that triggers me, irks me, upsets me, annoys me, I can now have the armor to not let that interfere with us building a relationship. Because you can also have relationships with people you disagree with, which is a concept that really in this day and age needs to be mastered.
So do you want to kind of talk about the impact that mentorship had on your life?
Yeah, well, the other night you got a chance to meet Mark Poling from Mango Cleaners, who taught me a ton about being generous with time, listening to people, showing people experiences, making sure that you give people opportunities, even though in the moment it may not be reciprocal, right? You pouring into that person can come back and give to other people.
For context, because I cut you off with that Cutco question, you stopped at telecom. You didn't get into the cleaning.
Oh yeah, so after telecom, so Cutco, then telecom services with Excel and Vartec Telecom. Lived in Germany when the EU deregulated their telecom services against Deutsche Telekom. So I learned about governments. You learned about all these things, right? And so that opens you up to understand about legislature, all types of things. In that business went bankrupt shortly after we did that. So as a sales force, we lost our opportunity. But my mentor, Mark, he came from the dry cleaning business. And so we came back to Florida, and he bought a mom and pop place called Mango Cleaners in Saffron, Florida, which he still owns today. His kids still run for him. And at one point, I was his COO. And
how old were you?
I was, junior year, so 2020. I was 21. And so
young.
Yeah. Lots of responsibility. And I learned how to run the equipment, how to service the clothes, how to get everything ready. So I would finish up my classes at USF, do my homework, pretty much take a nap, get up around 4 in the morning, get out to Sefner, turn on the boiler, turn on the machines, get everything up and going, push all the machines through the dry cleaning, push all the nice shirts that you wear through the wash cycle, and have everything set up. So when the ladies showed up at 6 a.m., the pressers, they show up to press all your clothes. I had everything laid out. I would be able to take a break, do my homework, and then when the 9 o'clock drop complete, because that in by 9, out by 5, that's our dry cleaning promise, the clothes would come in. I would spot them. You know, you got something on your shirt, spot them, clean them, get those through, and we'd do another round, and then all the clothes would be ready to dispatch, and then anything came from the drops, we'd do that. And so that was my life for a long time. But through that opportunity, I was given shares of that company. I was also mentored by Mark to make sure that I understood what assets were. And from there, I really amplified that lesson, and now I teach what a personal finance statement is to my employees. And I say, listen, in life, people are you can give somebody more per hour, but if I don't tell you what to do with that more per hour and you end up broke, busted, and disgusted with nothing to show for it at 75, you're going to be mad at me because I'm going to have a house paid off and all these things, so I won't do that. I'm not here to be the oppressor. I'm here to be the educator. So let me show you how to take your $650 a week, live on what you need, and get qualified to get yourself a mortgage so that in 10 years you'll have some equity. And now you understand the difference between having liabilities and getting your assets, right? And so that's the thing that I enjoyed about the mentoring that I receive, and that's what I continue to perpetuate in any leadership role that I get, is to make sure I show people how to get ahead and how to have something put by for your kids, for your grandkids, hey, for your cat or your dog. You know, some people, they leave everything to the cat or dog. Whatever your goal is, I want to help people get there. And so mentorship gave those things to me at a very young age. So grateful for all of the lessons.
So I know that a lot of people say schools don't teach that type of thing. Do you think that it's on the school to teach that, or do you think those are better lessons to be learned in the field, doing it with a mentor, making mistakes, however you get
I think home economics is important. Miss Jacobson, Monroe Middle School, never forget her. Taught us how to make a budget. No, Miss Baker, she better be retired by now, right? So let's see. Home economics, how to make a budget, right? How to make a menu for the week. When you can use 2 starches, you make potatoes on the first night, you make this, and then you combine the meals and do this. So Miss Jacobson taught us those things, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, home economics. And so I think there's definitely a place to teach basic life skills in middle school, especially as soon as you can, as soon as kids start to understand how to wash their clothes and take care of themselves, you should start teaching them what it takes for their parents to provide, because then it can create more of a teamwork experience at home. And then that will stop resentment and ingratitude. You know, those are things that I didn't have a lot of like those types of things. We were a team. My mom made sure I knew that we were a team. And so I had responsibilities to keep at home. And the more I learned, the better it helped my mom. Like, just thinking of Miss Jacobson talking about like credit and credit disputes. And we learned in her class, and I don't even know if it was in her curriculum or it just was something she felt in her heart, but we learned how to dispute credit things. And I remember one time my mom got a letter in the mail, and you know, I like to get up in the mail. And so I told my mom, I said, no, we don't pay that. I said, let's call him and let's talk to him. She's like, what? I'm like, let's call him and let's talk to him. She's like, I said, let me call him and talk to him. So my mom wrote her social security number down, all these things. And I call him and I say, hey, I'm calling about this situation, you know. And I did the same things Ms. Jacobson taught me to do. Tell him your situation, tell him what you can do, commit to what you can do, keep your word, make a deal. And so yeah, mentorship, teachers, teaching these things in school, it's necessary. I think we definitely need someone to teach our students these things. Because what if the parent doesn't know? What if they don't know?
The kid never learns.
Then the kid can't learn. Everybody's going to find a Mark Poland and the Millionaires. Everybody's going to get this lucky strike that I had so many times in my life. That's not so. Mm-hmm. That's just very fortunate for me. So what I can do is anybody who comes through my payroll, anybody goes through my orientation, that if you're with me for a year, you're going to get a whole curriculum of 4 life skills, which is credit, assets, how to buy a home, and how to do an estate plan. You know.
So what would you tell other business owners? Why would you tell them it's worth it for them to invest in their employee?
So I have a buddy named Katie and Douglas, and she has this thing called the human balance sheet that she just trademarked. And in the human balance sheet, you understand that, you know, people have a value they bring to your company, right? I have a service manager. He oversees cost of goods sold. He oversees staff. He oversees services to the public. These are his roles and responsibility. I have this person, they do this, this, and this, and I know what they yield to the business. But there's all these other soft skills that these people have. This guy's a magician on the side. Oh man, I'm going to pay him to be our entertainment. So getting engaged with your employees beyond what they bring to the actual bottom line of the company creates a more holistic way to do everything together. And you encourage them to have hobbies, to have things that they enjoy outside of work, so that they're not resenting being at work, because they're at work with people who appreciate the thing they do outside of work. Now, if you do something outside of work that's a little taboo and you don't want to share, I understand, you probably shouldn't, right? Because people judge. But if you're doing things like you make t-shirts or you spin cups with brands on them, and like, your company is likely going to buy those things. And if you become a vendor of your company, now there's this whole ecosystem where they didn't have to go out of the house to spend the money. If I know somebody in my company that used to be a contractor and I need to paint the buildings, and right now they're a mechanic, but I'm going to go spend $2,500 with somebody to paint the building, I'd rather give it to the guy that works for me and let him paint the building, right? And so the reasons why we want to get to know our people and help them benefit from knowing us is because relationships are everything. And we could be in each other's lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. We never know. But as long as there's purpose from those connections, I think that's what's in it for the business owner, is that you've done something good that wasn't just self-serving to your bottom line. And I understand that's very altruistic and it sounds all woo-woo, but I am a conscious capitalist. I've been a capitalist for so long. And because capital gives you choices and resources give you power. And so I'm not a person that's saying like go out and just give everything away. I'm saying there's things that you're going to give that don't hurt you. And knowledge, experience, expertise, having professionals that guide you. I have a family mortgage coach. He comes every year and he does a Zoom for 90 minutes and he does mortgage coaching. Last year he helped 3 different people organizationally wide go from being renters to owning. He's helped people go from being divorced, busted, disgusted credit, built them back up over a year, bought the first house, bought the second house, turned that into a rental, bought the house on the lake. I've just seen so many lives be changed by not being a gatekeeper on information. If you can provide opportunity to people to enrich yourself, what does it hurt you to help them enrich themselves? It doesn't hurt you. And if you're saying, well, if I help them get rich and then they're going to move on with their life and they're going to not work here anymore, good for you. You graduated someone through the cycle from being a W-2 person to maybe being a check writer. Mm-hmm. That doesn't take anything from you, but I think that so many people think if I let them free, then how are they going to serve me forever? Well, we don't own each other.
Right. I think there's a fear that you'll give them your time and your resources, and then they'll come and turn and become a competitor to you.
Oh, yeah. Non-competes. Listen, I'm not talking about legal jargon, right? Non-competes, all those things, territorial things. Right. Yeah, you have to have legal, you have to have structure. I'm not talking about teaching somebody how to become my next door neighbor and disrupt my business. No.
Right, you're teaching them more generational.
I'm teaching them generational wealth. Right. I'm teaching them how to access these resources that you don't have to be extremely wealthy to have a trust and an estate plan. If you have children, you need to have an estate plan and a trust to say what should happen to you if these children were to be without you. If you have a disabled child, you definitely need to have a trust, a will, and an estate to get these things done. That has nothing to do with how many houses and boats and things you have, but people have those things collapse. they think that that means, like, if I don't have a lot of money, I don't need a trust or anything. You can have one house and put that house in a trust and protect your family from themselves. You could have one kid that you know battles with addiction. You have one house to leave them for your grandkids, and you know the moment that they're in charge of this, they're going to liquidate it, take second mortgages, and my grandkid won't have this house. So what can you do with that? Now, this is where a lawyer and a trust and all these things come into play, so you can say what you can say on paper when you can't say anything, when we all go to the big air-conditioned shop in the sky one day.
Yeah. I want to get to how you ended up at Ice Cold Air, but do you mind if I take an ad break quick?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
This show is sponsored by absolutely no one. If you want me to ramble through an ad for you, slightly mumbled, slightly too fast, contact my boss, Jason Baker. So how did you end up at Ice Cold Air?
I love that ad commercial, by the way. I need you to ramble about me. Let's see. I ended up.
You can sponsor it if you want.
I would be happy to sponsor Ice Cold Air. We would do brakes, belts, tune-ups, and more. Yeah. You know what? We're just the cool people that know about cars.
Yeah. Which one of those is your slogan?
All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, all of them, actually. So I met Alan Ayers, the founder of Ice Cold Air.
Well, in Germany, you were studying abroad, right?
Oh, yeah, you want to go back to Mango. So, yeah, when we were in Germany, Deutsche Telekom deregulated. We had a little office in the train station of Freiburg, and our job was to go out and meet people who wanted to become salespeople for the network marketing company, and they would in turn turn people's bills off, and then all of us would get a little piece of the residual of the phone bill, which was really cool. Getting paid in dollars in Europe, in euros, back in 2003 was crazy. Like, I was like, wait, I'm supposed to get $100 and I have $125? This is amazing.
I went to Europe last year. I never understood it.
Don't worry.
Yeah. It was just like a hope and a dream. I wasn't getting ripped off. And on my way.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Eat and drink, have fun, leave your money there. It's tourism. Help. Yeah. In Germany, did that for a semester. That was really great experience. Learned so much about myself. I learned so much about hot springs and spas. I got a chance to see my first protests in Basel, Zurich one day. Went to see a movie and saw my first protest. So I learned a lot as a young adult in my early 20s. Came back home. That company went bust, and we went into the dry cleaning business. Learned to be extremely responsible over equipment and people and all this stuff. Learned A to Z's of how operation works. And then I'm standing in line one day. I'm still in the dry cleaning business. Got one semester left at USF, and I see this guy standing in line at Panera, and he's telling a joke. And he's got on one of these Tommy Bahama shirts with all these Tabasco sauce all over it. And he says one joke, and I go, just bust out laughing. And he turns around and he literally says, "What the hell are you laughing at?" And I said, "I'm laughing at you." I said, "You the only one in here telling jokes at the Panera." And he's like, "You all right?" And so we go through the line, we get our food. He tells me he's looking for young entrepreneurs. I tell him that I'm in the dry cleaning business and that I've had entrepreneur experiences throughout being in college. And he wanted to recruit me. Now, I told you before, I was in network marketing, so I already know what that means. 7 p.m., I'm going to meet somebody at a Holiday Inn. They're going to tell me how to get two, and I'm going to get residuals. I'm going to be rich. So I was that person before, so I wasn't going to discount this gentleman. And I ended up meeting him at the Outback on Henderson, and he tells me about his franchise and how he's looking for people to buy his franchises. So I got one store. I sold my shares of Mango Cleaners, $22,500. Took that and the equity I had in that house that Mark made sure I went and bought, $42,000. Bank of America at the time gave me a line. Between those two, that's how I had my footing to get started in my first franchise. 1 year after being at one store, 100% growth. And they're like, you know nothing about this industry at all, yet and still you've outgrown everybody in the franchise with no experience, minimal training. I was like, well, it's simple. You can be Nordstrom's or you can be Walmart. And what I think is, you can have a Target price and give a Nordstrom style service, and the customers will choose you over the Walmart choice or the Nordstrom because they want to get a good deal. I always knew about getting a good deal from the way I grew up. And so then I got an opportunity to transfer my franchise to my now flagship store on Del Mabry. That was back in 2007. And the rest has been amazing amount of history.
Mm-hmm. So when did Adrienne come into the picture?
She met me at my very first store. She came in to get an oil change. Yep.
Never left, huh?
Nope. Yep. Never left. The lady down the road, they couldn't get her in for an oil change. She was going to go out of town that day, and she said, go down. There's a nice little girl that has a shop down the road. People like her. So she came down to me, and I met her that day. She just sat there underneath the window shaker reading her book. I changed the oil. I told her what she needed to do. She would come back and follow the schedule that I told her. I break everything down, and I say, listen, come back in 3 months, come back in this, come back in this. And then we became friends. We just became friends. It was nothing romantic. I just respected her. She was a nurse. She had a young son, and I love children. And then, we became friends. And then I can't remember, several years later, we might have gone on a couple dates. And I went to a family reunion. Every year my family has a family reunion in July. And we were at the family reunion. And I remember thinking, I want to court Adrienne. I want to court Adrienne for marriage. I want to start my family. I want to start my forever family. So I called her up and I said, hey, are you dating anybody? And she said, no. I said, you want to date me? That's how it started.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it started.
Now she runs the business with you, right?
Yes, she does. She's in charge of marketing. She's SHRM certified. So she went from taking care of people as a nurse to now taking care of people as an employer. And so she went and did all the training to become HR certified. She took every piece of the business that I was not great at, and she took those as her jobs. And so now she is passing off the HR. We have a 30-year experience HR specialist. That's our business office manager who's taken that role, and now she's going to focus exclusively on our marketing efforts. And then, from there, anything can happen.
Yeah. So how did you end up transitioning from a franchisee to the franchisor?
So in 2000, when I came on, about 6 months after I came on, 2006, they hired a marketing specialist, our marketing director. And so she came in, her name is Tina. She came into the company, and because we were both new, we were like the new cohort. And she would come to my shop and just observe me, because I was just like this wild outlier. This person I wasn't a technician before. I wasn't on any of the checkbox before. I was just this person who had assets that could be responsible. And they just watch my numbers, and so she would kind of come and not spy on me, but kind of get some intel, find out how is this kid doing this.
Yeah.
And then we just grew the company together. We came up with the tagline at Starbucks on Hillsborough Avenue. I was like, we need to do something because people don't know that we do.
That's a third tagline?
Yeah, that people didn't know we did more than air conditioning. And I said, we need to do something about it. And she was like, I know, but what can we do? I said, we just need something simple that says, hey, we do brakes, we do belts, we do tune-ups, we do engine swaps. And so we came up with brakes, belts, tune-ups, and more, having coffee. Mm-hmm. And so I worked with Tina hand in hand. She went from being the marketing director to being the president to buying out. And so I just helped her grow the company. Anything that I did at my store, I would get vendors to come in and do trainings. Hey, teach us how to use this tool. You want me to buy one? Come teach my guys. Put some pizzas in the middle of the floor. I'll get them to stay after work. And you teach us how to use this tool. And so I started just asking people for simple reciprocity. And then we incorporated a company-wide training. We partnered up with a vendor, and then we did structured training.
And this was all before you took over?
Yeah. I helped her. I helped build it. And so midway through me helping build it, this is a funny story. My hairdresser reminded me of this. She came to I get my hair done on schedule for every 5 weeks. So she came there, she gets her hair done on the schedule. And she said, I need to talk to you about something. You want to be partners with us? And she told me the pitch. Right there I was getting my hair done. And I said, think about it. And so I went around and had my buddy, the money guy, and we went to this person, that person, and showed the idea. And it wasn't the right time. It didn't feel right. And I was like, no, I pass. I don't want to be in partnership. And so fast forward after that, about maybe like 8 years later, when they were ready to do a full exit in 2022, and said, hey, I know you don't want to do partnership, but would you just like to exit us, be our succession plan? And by that point, I was ready. And so we did it. So I went from helping build the franchise to be better for franchisees to now I'm the franchisor and there's no more red tape. So now we get to do all the cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. So how many, since you bought it, how many new stores? No new
ones. Actually, we're doing the inverse. We are bringing down units that are laggers. We're bringing down units that leasing agreements aren't favorable. And we are structuring for strength and longevity. So our plan is counterintuitive to what's popular on socials. Everybody wants to, let's scale, let's grow, let's get bought out by a private equity firm. And none of that feels right to my soul. None of that feels right to my soul. My thing is I want to create the most blue collar millionaires I can. That's my deal. And that means not only cash flow, that means assets, that means putting them in positions where they have choices. And so the good news about me, I don't need a private plane and I don't really care to have a boat. Mm-hmm. So I can share the wealth. Yeah. So
what do the next 10 years look like?
So the next 10 years for us looks like full infrastructure. So that's what we've done for the first 2 years, infrastructure, new technology, new website, new point of sale system.
Just trying to be the best at what you guys do.
That's right. That's it. It's just all the strategic things. And now training. Next 36 months, all training, 100% ASC certifications across all ICE code airs, all stores.
How many do you own?
We have 3 operational outlets. And so the rest are our franchisees. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about kind of your experience with the one that didn't go as well as your first few ventures?
Oh, so wow, yeah. In
what
2000,
you learned from that?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I learned from, Tina came to me, this was 2013. We had a franchisee in the system that was failing, and she said, this store is gonna close. It was close to my store, and I was working like 10 hours a week, playing poker full time, doing poker tournaments, like just, living the absentee life. It was great.
That was your hobby.
That was my thing.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I would go and help her from stores. Go help this person learn how to meet the community. Go help this person. I just did it because what else am I going to do? Like 30-year-old, all my friends are at work. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. I said, I'll turn this one around. I'll do a 3-year commitment. I don't want to sign a 10-year franchise agreement. I'll turn this one around and we'll sell it to a new person. So I went over and I tried to go fast. And going fast lost me $500,000. The store had like 2 lifts. It was just like so I poured concrete. Like I just went nuts, like community service stuff. I mean, I tell you what, if you would have walked over there and said, I'm having a hard day, I might have handed you a $100 bill. It's just like I was the sucker in the room, international sign for the dummy, drinks on me. I was that way in that community. And so I went too hard, too fast. And I tried to do everything that I did in 10 years in 1 year. And there were so many great lessons, but so many great things came from that time too. That's when I got really good at getting vendors to do trainings and support, because I had 2 stores at that point to support. And so I got really good at systems and processes. I met some really great business coaches during that time because I was out of depth. I had not been that stretched. And so, that was a great lesson of what not to do. And so now I know how to tell another franchisee that feels like they can conquer the world, eat this element one mouth at a time.
How much do you think that now influences the strategy that you described a couple minutes ago, that you're just trying to be the best, you're not trying to grow necessarily?
Yeah, not trying to do everything right now. So I would say today I just had lunch with Amy, who owns the laundry club. So she said she could take a penny and do 10 cents worth of work with it. What happened for me is that I learned that it's like you don't have to go prove how great you are by spending your money. You can just be great, have great processes, and perfect your process. That's what's going to help you keep what you make and not squander it. And sometimes spending money is not the solution.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes spending time is the solution. Investing time inside the shop with the people is the solution.
Yeah. So I really appreciate your time. If there's anything that you want to look into the camera and say what you got going on.
Well, there's a lot going on right there. We went all over the place in that session.
Have you ever seen Hot Ones?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm stealing this from him.
Yes.
You know, at the end when he goes, that camera, that camera, that camera, tell the world what you got going on?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I'll tell you what we need your help with is we're now Ice Cold Air Complete Auto Repair. We do brakes, belts, tune-ups, and so much more. We do digital vehicle inspections just like your national chains in your dealership. We have a 36-month nationwide guarantee. That means if you get your alternator put on here in Tampa, Florida, and you move to D.C. next week, that alternator is covered for 3 years, 36,000 miles. We're here for you. We're your neighbors. And really, if you could just consider us the cool people that are in your neighborhood that know about cars and you can ask us things, we'd be grateful just to be that friend to you. We just want to be a good neighbor.
This is my car. How much would that run me?
Oh, that's nothing but a bumper cover and spray paint. I mean, that's
that doesn't make me feel any
better.
Yeah,
yeah. You get a bumper cover. Listen, I'll tell you, APO on 301. Buy the bumper cover. We'll put it on for you, or we can order it for you. We mark it up a little bit just so you know if you can bring your own parts at Ice Cold Air. Most people don't know that. We allow people to bring your own parts. So go on all the sites, Parts Geek, Amazon. If you buy the part and put it on, bring it to us, we'll put it on. That's our promise to you. We really just want to help you. But yeah, this is just a bumper cover. And probably you're missing the insulation behind there. We don't really do body work, but simple stuff like this we can definitely do.
I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. That's no big deal, Chuck. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We fixed a Civic for a lady that ran into somebody 2 weeks ago. And we did it. We fixed it for like $30-something $100.
Yeah,
everybody else wanted like $7K.
Someone T-boned me and not T-boned me, like hit me when I was parked somewhere.
Yeah.
And then it was flapping in the wind for a while. I just ripped it off.
Yeah, I can fix that.
Oh, sweet.
That's no problem.
I appreciate it. All right, well, thank you.
Hey, thanks for the time. Thanks for letting me ramble.
Yeah, it was
I had
fun.
a good time.
We'll do it again soon.